Is sports betting investing? No. If that's all you were looking for, there's your answer. And honestly, I know that might sound obvious to some people that are watching this video, but it's really not obvious to everybody anymore. Because sportsbooks, gambling influencers, sports betting gurus, Discord pick sellers, and even some regular sports bettors, yeah, they've done a pretty good job of making sports betting sound like something smarter than it actually is. Because one of the easiest ways to stay stuck in sports betting is to dress it up in smarter language. If I call it investing, I don't have to look at it as gambling. If I call it research, I don't have to admit that I have an addiction. So in this video, I want to break down the difference between sports betting and investing, and why sportsbooks want you to confuse the two badly. Why doing research doesn't magically turn gambling into investing, and of course, why this mindset can be a major warning sign that you have a gambling addiction. And I want to say this right away. This is not me talking down to you. I understand why people believe it because I did too. I understand why it feels logical in the moment because I used to tell myself some of the exact same things. But the truth is that sports betting is not investing. Sports betting is gambling. Let's talk about it. You see, the reason this question even exists is because sports betting does look smarter than other forms of gambling if you're just looking at it on the surface. If someone's sitting in front of a slot machine and they're smashing a button for 8 hours, most logical people can look at that and say that it's gambling. If someone's playing blackjack, roulette, or some kind of online casino game, it's also pretty easy to call that gambling. But sports betting has this little trick built into it because you know the sport. You know the teams, you know the players, you've been watching them for years. You know who's been playing well, you know the matchups, you listen to podcasts talking about sports, you follow insiders on Twitter, and so it starts to feel like I'm not randomly betting. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about here. This is where people start making the jump because they say, this is basically investing. But knowing about sports doesn't make sports betting investing. Watching injury reports doesn't make sports betting investing. Looking at stats does not make sports betting investing. You see, at the end of the day, you're risking money on a short-term outcome that you do not control with odds that are already priced by people whose entire business is making sure that you don't win in the long run. Now, I'm going to try to keep this very simple because this is not a finance channel. But investing usually means that you're putting money into an asset with the goal of building value over time as that business or underlying asset becomes more successful. That could be a business, stock, an index fund, real estate, or something else that has some kind of long-term value behind it. When you invest in a company, you're buying a piece of ownership. When you invest in an index fund, you're buying a basket of businesses, and there's still risk. You can still lose money. Not every investment is a good investment, but the basic idea is that you're buying something that can produce value, grow over time, or give you ownership in something that's real. When you place a sports bet, you're not buying ownership in the Lakers. You're just betting that a 22-year-old who has 50,000 people watching him doesn't mess up and miss a field goal. And when the game ends, the bet either won or lost. There is no asset, there's no ownership, there's no long-term value being built. And that's the key difference. Sports betting is risk that's packaged as entertainment and sold back as an opportunity to get rich really fast. Look, if someone that you love is struggling with gambling, it must feel exhausting to feel like you constantly have to play detective. You're checking accounts, you're questioning their explanations of where every dollar went, and you're wondering if they're even telling you the truth. You're trying to support them without enabling the addiction, but it's insanely difficult. Well, that's exactly why I helped create Deuce Recovery. Deuce is built to detect and report gambling-related activity across sportsbook accounts, casino accounts, social casino accounts, and any other platform where your loved one could be gambling. You get a notification sent to you when that happens so that you don't have to rely on guessing anymore. It gives you a way to catch warning signs before another crisis happens without overexerting yourself. Start your 14-day free trial at deucerecovery.com. People don't want to hear this, but sportsbooks want you to feel smart. They want you to feel like you have that edge. They want you to feel like you're making a calculated financial decision when you go and place a bet. Because if you feel like a gambler, you might slow down. But if you feel like an investor, you might keep depositing. That's why the language around sports betting has changed so much in recent years. It's not just place a bet anymore. It's build up your bankroll, find some value picks, become sharp, tail a pick, risk-free bets, promotion, odds boost, profit boost, same game parlays. All these little tools make you feel like you're managing a portfolio, like you're gaining some value, some kind of edge over this big bad casino. And I'm not saying that every person that uses this language is evil or anything. I mean, some people are just repeating what they hear, but the industry benefits when gambling feels like investing because investing seems responsible, but gambling sounds risky. So, if a sports book or some random sports betting guru can get you to say those things, they've already won half the battle because now you're defending the behavior before anyone else even questions it. The biggest argument that people make is, Rob, come on, I do research. And look, I get it. This is probably the most common defense. People will say, I'm not just throwing money on random games. I study matchups. I look at the injury reports. I compare odds across different sports books. I follow the line movement. I know what's going on. I know this sport. And that may all be true. But research doesn't automatically turn gambling into investing. You could research a roulette wheel all day. It's still roulette. Research might give you this false sense of confidence, but confidence is not the same thing as actual control. Sports betting gives you enough information to make you feel like you're in control, but not actually enough control to influence or determine the outcome. You can know everything about a game and still lose because of a missed field goal, a bad call, a garbage time touchdown. I mean, a player could get hurt, a coach could make a weird decision that day, the weather could change, and it could start raining a little bit. That's what makes sports betting gambling and what makes it so dangerous for people. Because when you lose, your brain doesn't always say, maybe this was gambling. Your brain says, I was close. If this thing just didn't happen, I would have won. I need to just research a little better next time. So instead of walking away, you end up chasing and doubling down. You study more, you bet more, and you convince yourself that, hey, the answer is just more information. Then we'll get it. But sometimes the answer is not more research. Sometimes the answer is actually admitting that the game was designed to keep you playing until you lost it all. Another reason people think that sports betting is investing is because of what you see online. You open up your TikTok account or wherever you go online and you see people posting wins. Big parlay hits, 50 into 5,000. Another winning day. Premium members ate today. But you're not seeing the full picture. You're seeing what they choose for you to see. The wins. You're not seeing every losing ticket. You're not seeing every deposit or the nights spent chasing the 3 accounts that they blew up right before they took the screenshot that they've now turned into a marketing tool. You're not seeing the people in the Discord who tailed the pick and lost. You're not seeing the months where these gamblers were down bad. This is called survivorship bias. Basically, you're only seeing the survivors. You're seeing the winners. You're seeing the highlight reel. And if you only look at the highlight reel, sports betting looks really, really easy and really profitable. It starts to look like everyone is winning, except you. But that's not the reality. It's just marketing. A betting guru isn't going to build a business by showing you every loss. They sell confidence. They sell the feeling that someone else has the edge that you've been missing all along. And for someone who's already vulnerable to gambling addiction, this is extremely dangerous. Because now you're not just betting on sports. You're betting on the idea that this random person online can save you from the losses that you've been incurring. And that is how people go from casual betting to chasing picks, paying for discords, joining VIP groups, and convincing themselves that for some reason they're investing. Buying picks isn't investing. Tailing a guru isn't investing. Joining a premium betting group is not investing. You're just gambling. Now you're just paying a little bit extra to do it. Now, of course, someone is going to say, okay, but some people make money sports betting. Technically, yes. Some people have won in the past. Some people beat the market for a given period of time. Some people may be profitable for now. That doesn't mean that sports betting is a good idea, because in the end, they could lose that money. Some people can win the lottery. That doesn't make lottery tickets a retirement plan. The existence of winners does not change the nature of the activity. And this is one of the biggest lies that people tell themselves. Well, someone is winning, so why can't it be me? Maybe you can have a little hot streak. But for most people, especially those of us who struggle with gambling addiction, winning is not even the end. Winning just becomes proof that we can keep doing it, that we should keep going. And then losing becomes proof that we need to go and win it all back. So whether they win or they lose, the result is the same. That's the cycle that casinos are hoping to get you hooked into. And if by chance you were able to win, they would simply just ban you from playing. So in the end, you don't win anyway. If you're calling sports betting investing, I want you to ask yourself a few honest questions. These are inspired from Gamblers Anonymous, but not taken directly. Are you actually investing, or are you trying to make gambling sound responsible? Are you betting money that you can afford to lose, or are you trying to turn betting into a source of income? Are you watching games for fun, or are you only watching because you have money on them? Are you researching because you enjoy sports, or because you're trying to recover losses from previous games? Are you able to skip a weekend of gambling, or does not betting make you feel anxious? Are you calling your gambling money a bankroll, but treating it like money that you desperately need to grow? Are you hiding deposits? Are you chasing losses? Are you telling yourself that you are almost profitable? If even one of these sounded like you likely have some kind of gambling problem. Because for a lot of people, the sports betting is investing mindset isn't really about it being investing. It's just about denial. It's a way to say, I don't have an actual gambling problem. I just had a bad strategy. I spent 6 years hooked to gambling where I was betting on sports for, 8 hours a day. That mindset can keep you stuck for a very long time. Because as long as you believe the next system, the next pick, the next model, the next deposit's going to work and fix everything, you never actually have to face the real issue, the addiction that's been building the whole time. So what do you do if this video is hitting a little bit too close to home? Well, first, stop arguing with the word gambling. Call it what it is. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're stupid or that you're hopeless, but you cannot recover from something that you keep renaming. If sports betting is hurting you, literally just call it gambling. That's the first step. If you're chasing losses, call it chasing losses. If you're hiding your gambling, call it hiding. The second thing is to separate sports from betting again. A lot of people lose their actual love of sports because every game turns into a financial event. Every missed shot feels personal. Every touchdown ruins your mood or ruins your life, and every injury feels like it happened to your bank account. I used to think that I was the biggest sports fan in the world, but by the end of my gambling, I realized that I was no longer a sports fan. I was just a gambling fan. You're not enjoying sports anymore. You're being held hostage by a bet. Third, stop consuming content that makes betting look like a side hustle. Unfollow the pick sellers, leave the Discord groups, and stop watching people celebrate winning parlays. They lose them the next day anyway. Stop feeding your brain the idea that everyone else has this figured out and you're just one play away from joining them. And finally, get honest with somebody. That might be a friend, a family member, a counselor, a recovery group, or even just leaving a comment and saying, I needed to hear this. The goal is not to shame you. The goal is to interrupt the lie before it gets worse. So is sports betting investing? No, of course not. Sports betting is gambling. It might involve research, it might involve stats, it might involve some kind of strategy, but it's still gambling. And the more the industry tries to make it sound like investing, the more careful and skeptical you really need to be. Because sportsbooks are not building apps because they want you to retire early. And calling a bet an investment does not change what it actually is. If you're someone who's been using that language, like bankroll, becoming sharp, trading, side hustle, I want you to pause. And I want you to really ask yourself what is going on. Because sometimes the most dangerous part of gambling isn't the bet itself. It's the story that you tell yourself so that you can keep placing more. If sports betting is starting to control your money, your mood, your time, or your relationships, take it very seriously right now. And watch this playlist that we put together on how you can stop gambling. Let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.